Yes, here we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so, I always like to start these out with a little bit of a beat. Just kind of, a little bit of music, a little bit of a beat, a little bit of our guest, a little bit of Skip Happens. No, actually, it's a whole lot of our guests here tonight. I want you all to say hi to Andrada Popa, who is way over there. Like halfway.
Where even am I? Do you even know where I am?
No, it's like, where's Andrada?
Where in the world is Andrada today? That is a very good question that everyone should ask themselves. First thing when they wake up in the morning, where is Andrada today in the world?
Yeah, but it's not morning there yet. But it's the middle of the night. Well,
it will be in a few hours, actually.
Yeah. And the sun will probably be coming up there when I'm going to bed here. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, tell everybody where you are, Andrada.
Right. So right now I am in Romania, which is very, very far away from where you are. If you don't know where Romania is, then you should feel ashamed. No, it's Eastern Europe. So it's 3 a.m. right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it'd be about 8 p.m. our time, a little after 8. So what a time difference. And do you do a lot of these at this, for this ungodly hour for you, but it's okay?
Yes, but I love it. I feel so much more productive. Like, I think throughout the day, I just kind of, I don't know, I just don't have the right energy. And then it hits about 8 p.m., 9 p.m. My brain just goes, boom, let's go. Like, it's go time. So I don't know why, but I've always been a night owl. I've always been a night person, and I write all of my songs. Ask anyone who knows me. I write all of my songs at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or maybe 3 a.m., but mostly around that time.
Nobody sees you.
So productive.
Nobody sees you during the day. It's all
I mean, not really. People message me and be like, Andrada, wake up. It's 1 o'clock. And I'm like, look, I've got a weird life. Just let me do my thing.
We're talking with Andrada Popa tonight. This is very exciting. She's halfway around the world in Romania. She is a star. She's an actress. She is yes, you are. She is a singer. She's an actress. I was looking at the videos online. I'm very excited that I was given this opportunity to speak with you. You went to school in London, right? Was it the music or the theater side of things?
It was both.
Okay.
It was musical theater. So I did both. I did music and I did theater. Because I wanted to do both, and I was like, why choose when you can just do both? So I just ended up doing both. Yeah.
And there's no better place than London to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, I wanted to come to the States, but let's be honest, I didn't really feel like spending 60,000 pounds, like dollars or whatever. Like, I just didn't really feel like spending that much on a musical theater course. Not that it's not worth it necessarily. It's just that it just feels like it's also very, very far away. And yeah, overall, just really, really, really expensive. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to London, a little closer, a little cheaper. Just gonna do that instead. So yeah,
it's one of the best.
I did.
Yeah, exactly. Is your family? Are you home? Is this home to you, Romania?
Yeah. So my family all lives, like, they all live in Romania. I'm the only person who was like, okay, bye everyone, I'll see you in 4 years. So yeah, I've been gone for a while, but I always came back for the summer. So I've always been back for summer, and then I always went back in about September. And then I came back last summer, and then I went back for a bit, and now I'm back again. So that's why it's always like, where in the world is Andrada today? Because no one ever knows.
I have to ask, have you been to the States?
I have. I've been to the States. So the first time I went to the States was when I was 16. So I was a minor back then, but I went with with one of my friends who, I mean, she's an American national, so I went with her. And I went to LA and I loved it. It was just, when you go somewhere and you think, I don't want to leave, and I don't really care if anyone messages me. I just don't want to talk to you right now. That was me, and my mom was freaking out. She was like, Andrada, you're 16. Like, you need to pick up the phone. Like, there's only one time a day because it's like 10 hours difference. So LA is always 10 hours earlier than we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We have something like that. 3 hours earlier than us right now. So
yeah, so it was just like so confusing. And she was like, the one time I call you throughout the day, you don't pick up. So yeah, I went to LA. It was amazing. I had the best time. I stayed a couple of days in San Francisco, and I think I went to Monterey.
Yes.
Monterey, yeah. And then I went to New York last year.
Oh,
No,
very nice.
wait,
Did
2000, no, 2019, not 2020. I did not go there in
it was
2020.
pretty much
No.
shut down in 2020.
Yeah, it was 2019. I went to New York. I stayed there for a week, and I went with my mom, and we had a lovely time.
Oh, did you
So yeah.
perform at all? Did you?
It was like business and pleasure kind of thing. It was like we went to visit, we went around, we went, to see places and things,
Mhm.
but I also had to meet some people, so it was a bit of both, which was good because it didn't feel like I was slacking on work.
Right,
It still
right.
felt like I'm
Exactly.
being productive. So yeah, it was good.
Do you have any future plans on coming over to the States and spending a little more time? I mean,
I
you're
do, I do.
you're
Yes.
acting, you're a beautiful actress. Tell us.
So I was planning on coming over in 2020. That was like,
Mhm.
my big goal for 2020 was either figuring things out in London or just, going to the States because everyone wanted, I mean, not everyone, but people wanted me there because I do have people that I know over there and people that could have, helped me out on the music side and the acting side. And then I was like, okay, 2020, September, here I come.
Mhm.
And then I was like, this is not really happening, is it? Like I just couldn't go. It was not a very smart decision
Right.
to go to the States because first off, there's nothing happening. I mean, there's barely anything happening in London. That's why I came back here for a while because London is just dead right now. If anyone wants to go to London, please don't. Like, there's just nothing going on. So I just thought it wouldn't be a smart decision
Right.
to go to the States because it would just mean I would be spending lots of money
Yeah. For no
and
reason.
for no reason, and I wouldn't be able to see people, like the people that I would actually have to meet. Um, I wouldn't be able to. So I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna do something else in the meantime, and I'm gonna come over. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this year. Yeah.
Well, we hope you do. Let's hope things open up a little bit. And if you come into New York, I know it's just a few hours from where we are. So I would definitely make the drive down to say hello to you and meet you in person. And
Oh, I mean, I would make the drive down if I get my driver's license soon.
you don't have your driver's license. I have no idea
No,
what works there.
no, I don't because I moved to London when I was 18. So that was right after I finished high school. And you just don't really need a car. If you live in London, having a car is like the worst decision possible. Like in London, you just get the tube. You don't need to have a car because if you do, parking's not free. Like in Romania, you can just
Right.
park your car like, on the side of the road and just
Gotta
hope
go.
for the best.
Yeah.
But in London, like you always have to pay for parking. Even if you own a flat, you still have to pay for the parking at the flat. And stuff like that. You can't really park anywhere on the street. It's always really busy. And what's the point in having a car when you can just get the tube and it's quicker, it's cheaper, it's faster. And yeah, I didn't really need a car. But then when you're in Romania, you kind of need a car. So it looks like that's on my to-do list for
Yeah,
this
put it
month.
on your list. Put it on your list.
Yes.
I
Yes.
actually spent a little time in London. I spent like 3 weeks there, a very little time, but I was in a little town called Acton, London.
No
And
way! You
yeah,
went to Acton. I lived in Ealing Broadway,
oh, will
which
you
is
stop? We've got
oh,
the
you
same
stop. Okay, we
headphones.
need to tell everyone this. So I get on this call and we realize we've got the same mic. And then Skip's like, "Show me your headphones." And I'm like, "We have the same headphones." And then and now you're telling me you went to London, you went to Acton. That's like 5 minutes away from where I live. That's
Oh
crazy.
my lord! And I remember being in Acton, and we were in a flat, and we had to pay for our electricity through a meter. We'd all get our coins together, and okay, who's paying today? That's how we got our electricity. So the bill was always paid. If we didn't
Oh,
put
wow.
money in the meter, we didn't have electricity. I don't know. That was many, many, many years ago, but still,
Wow. How long ago was that?
it was a long time. Long
Oh,
time
wow.
before you.
I
I
mean, Acton is not the best place to live in, to be honest. I mean, you go 5 minutes away, you get to Ealing Broadway, and it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is lovely." And then you go to Acton, and it's like, "Hmm, am I gonna get killed?" It's
Yeah,
it's
it was
it's
great.
not my favorite area.
Well,
Yeah.
back then it probably wasn't too bad. It was quite a few years ago, but it was a big. I remember it very well, and I remember traveling through Scotland. We did spend a little time in Wales, Edinburgh. We did that whole route through the United Kingdom, which is just really neat. It was something to see. So
I mean, looking back on my time in the UK, I kind of feel like I didn't travel enough. Like, with the whole lockdown thing happening, I realized I went to London, I went to Manchester, Liverpool, and a couple of other places. But out of, there's like so many other towns. I didn't even go to Oxford. Like,
Oh, wow.
imagine that. And that's so close from so close to London, and I just didn't go. And then when the lockdown hit and the quarantine and then coronavirus and everything, I kind of realized I should have, taken advantage of being in the UK, and I just didn't. So now I kind of want to go back and travel a bit more.
And you should. You
I
should.
will.
As soon
I
as
will.
you can. I do want to talk about your music. I want to talk about your past a little bit. I want to talk about the La La Band, which was many years ago for you, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be 10 years in a few days or a few weeks or something like that. So
I was
yeah, I think
looking at
that's
the videos and they were like 10 years ago. So I kind of figured, yeah.
yeah.
But we do want to talk about that. But I do have a question for you. And it's not about music. It's not about any of that. But with this whole pandemic thing that's going on, obviously it's around the world. What I read was Romania was like, they shut down right away and everything was good. Right? Here in the United States,
Um,
we're having our issues. So,
well, I think what happened was, yes. So to kind of give you the short answer, it's yes. I think there was about 4 or 5 cases, and then Romania was like, okay, lockdown, complete lockdown. If
right.
you wanted to go out to buy anything, you needed to have like a written declaration saying why you're leaving the house, and if you didn't have one, you would like pay, you would get fined and stuff like that. So yeah, Romania was really, really fast when it came to lockdown. But then in June, yeah, that's when I came back. So in June, everything just kind of opened back up, and then cases started to go up again. So we went from having a full lockdown after 30 cases to
Mhm.
having about 3,000 a day and no restrictions. And everyone was like, what's going on? How did we go from full lockdown at 30 cases to this?
Right.
So I think we kind of started off the right way, and then we just thought, you know what,
Good to
it's
go
okay.
and then let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I went through 2 lockdowns, as in like 2 self-isolations, because I had to go to London and then came back, and then the other way around. So I spent about a month in total just alone in my flat.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how did that affect what you do as an artist, as an actress, as a performer? How did you handle all that?
I mean, I'm good with being by myself.
Mhm.
People who know me know that. Like, I just don't mind, because I
Get it.
always find something to do, and I can always get creative. I don't think you have to always be around people. I think being around people sometimes does the opposite. So for me, whenever I get some time alone, I can just, write some more. Like, just you can still do things even if you're by yourself in isolation. Like in the first isolation, I had to finish my dissertation, so that was
Right.
something that I really had to do. And I did do it. And then in the second isolation, I just tried to, write more, read more, all that kind of stuff. So it didn't really affect me as much. I can still do things. That's what I've learned from this lockdown. Is I came out of this lockdown with this quote that says, "Where there's a will, there's a way." That's
Absolutely.
what I think from this whole pandemic. That's what I got out of it.
I love it. I love it. Let's go back now. La La Land.
La La Band, yeah,
La
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 La.
Band. What did I say? La La Land? La La Band. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that you were how old when you were in the La La Band?
So I was 13 when I got cast in the series, which is slash band slash same thing.
Uh-huh.
So I was 13, yeah, 13 going on 14. Um, and it all just happened really fast in terms of um I just I just didn't expect it to become as big as it did. I don't think
Mhm.
anyone did.
Mhm.
So we went from, okay, we're gonna do this TV series and we're gonna do this like musical kind of thing, and we're gonna be a band. And within 2 months of the show coming out, it just got crazy. I was like, how is this my life right now? But I never, I swear, I always say that to people. I never looked at myself like, yeah, I made it. Like, look
Mhm.
at me, I'm so cool now. Like, I always still felt like I wasn't necessarily confused, but I just always felt like it's still me. It's still Andrada. There's nothing's changed. Like we had someone come backstage once, and we were having food, like just like sandwiches and stuff like that. And
Sure.
the girl looked at me and she goes, and I'm like, "What's happened?" And she says, um, "I can't believe you're eating the same thing as we are." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "You're eating normal food like normal people." And I was like, of course we're eating normal food like normal people. It was just so funny that people just assumed we were these like
Right.
extraterrestrial, creatures that
Yep.
just like didn't eat or sleep or did anything like normal people would. Um, and yeah, I would just go home and chat to my mom and just be the same person I've always been. So it has it's changed my life, but it hasn't changed me.
Right. Now, what made you at that young age want to do that? Have you always wanted to sing and act and do all that? I mean, because you said what, you were 13?
Well, I actually started when I was 7.
Oh my.
So, I
Yep.
started when I was 7 with the whole singing part. I wasn't acting back then, so it all started with me singing. I went to a bunch of competitions. My mom would just, like, drag me, like, all over the country, all around Europe to, like, all the festivals and stuff, and then I went to Eurovision, Junior one, the kids one. I went to Eurovision in 2008. Pretty sure it was 2008. Yeah. So I represented Romania with another girl in Cyprus, and then that's kind of how it all got even more serious than it already was. And then yeah, I auditioned for the show. It was like 30,000 people, and then we just went through all these rounds like throughout the week. There was just like, you out, you stay, and all that kind of stuff. And then one night they sent me back home because they realized the part that I was auditioning for was already been given. And I was like, then why have I been here all this time? Like, if I was devastated. I was like, why would you ask me, and why would you keep me here for all this time? They were like, oh, we're really sorry. Like, this role was already being cast. And then that night at about 11 o'clock at night, they called me and they're like, hi, is this Andrada? And I'm like, yes. Actually, we want you back in tomorrow. Could you be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock? I was like, of course I can. And I realized I'm yelling in this mic.
No,
Sorry.
it's all right. It doesn't. It's good.
Yeah, and I went back the next day, and then yeah, it was like a really creepy situation where like we were like sat next to each other. It
Oh,
was
wow.
like 6 or 7 girls, and there was like a panel of like 14 people just like in the dark. Like, you can actually see anything, just like
Really?
silhouettes. And then
It is kind of
a voice just goes like, please step forward. And then we all like step forward. And then they would just like stare at us. Like they would talk about our faces, our heights, our build, our everything, just be like, that person did this and that person's doing that, or whatever. And then they go, you, and you.
What?
Congratulations, you're in. And I was like, I tripped over the wire. So I was like, it was really embarrassing. And then I was like, oh my God, thank you so very much, and whatever. And then yeah, that's kind of how La La Band happened. And I'm pretty sure I picked the name. So we had to like, there was 20 of us, and they said, guys, we need to find a name. Everyone put a name in a hat. And we came up with all these ideas, and I'm pretty sure I put La La Land in the hat, and I think someone said, oh, maybe it should be La La Band. And then it became La La Band. So I'm pretty sure I actually named this band, but
nice.
like a little side note. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, the music you have out today, you just released a new video about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And tell us a little-
I released a music video. No, go on. What did you want to ask?
No, just go on. Tell me about that a little bit.
So I released Sign from God a week ago, and it did much better than I actually expected, because I never want to put my expectations too high, because then you get disappointed. So it just had incredible feedback. I just, I had messages from people telling me that, oh, this song's, it's made me cry. It's made me think about life. It just really got to me. And I would just be sat on my bed like, why am I crying now? Because I get really emotional when people tell me nice things. And no, it's just been doing really well, and I'm really happy about it. It's kind of different from everything that I've released. It's a more chilled Andrada, a more laid back kind of, introspective Andrada. So yeah, I don't really know what more to say about it. It's the first time I got on New Music Fridays. I'm really happy. I've been dreaming about this for so long, and I was like, why don't I never get New Music Fridays? And then we got 4 of them. So I'm like, yes. So yeah, we got New Music Friday on Spotify, and we got New Music Daily on Apple and stuff like that. So that was the first time that kind of happened. So I guess that says something about the song.
Are you you can tell when you're being added to playlist, correct? With Spotify.
Yes, you get a nice email saying, you've just been added to an editorial playlist on Spotify. And it's like,
And you're like, yes.
yes, no, honestly, because I've always said like, how do people even get on editorials? 'Cause obviously, we know how the music business works, and it's very complicated unless you know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So I was just always like, well, at this rate, it's never gonna happen, you know. And then the morning when when the song came out, my producer messaged me and he goes, "We did it," and I'm like, "What do you mean we did it?" And he just like sent me a screenshot, and I'm like, "We did." I'm like, "I'm gonna pop the champagne. I don't even care. It's 11 a.m. I'm gonna go and do it." So no, it was really exciting. I know it's like a small achievement in the grand scheme of things. But
So
I was happy.
that song is your own. That you wrote it and all
Yes.
that.
So it came out as a feature because the producer is also he has his own project. So he's got his own
Mhm.
um name, like it's like March and June. So he would release things under March and June. So he wanted me on the song as the vocalist and the performer. I'm in the video and everything.
Mhm.
So we released it as a feature, but in theory, there's no one else singing. It's me singing. And yeah, I did the top line, and the lyrics, and I'm singing it. So he produced everything else, and I'm just we just always work together, and we work really well. So
Excellent.
that's how Sign from God. It was his idea, to be honest. The whole Sign from God, like the actual title, he just said, I don't care what else you write about. I give you freedom with your lyrics all the time because I hate people telling me what to like write because it just has to be personal. But
Exactly.
he said to me, he said it needs to be called Sign from God, or it has to be a sign from God. He was just saying, considering how things have affected everyone in the last year and how just things just feel so just everyone's looking for hope, everyone's looking for a sign, everyone's looking for a way out and stuff like that. So he was like, I don't care what you write aside from this line, I want this line in the song.
Mhm.
And then I just built the whole song
Around that.
around that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it being sent to radio there at all?
Yes, I actually heard today, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I heard that it's actually going on one of the radios that we were hoping for next week. So if they add it to the playlist, then I'll be really happy.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
they don't, then
Well,
it's
it
okay. But
not
yeah,
happen
it's hard.
overnight. Right. It may not happen overnight. It may take a little bit of time. Then all of a sudden, once it catches on, I know here in the States, certain songs take a little bit longer than others. But
Oh, yeah,
once
of
they
course.
catch
Sometimes
on,
you put a song out and it does well in, 6 months' time or a year's time or
yeah.
sometimes even 5 years' time now with TikTok and everything.
Oh, exactly.
We're trying to focus on that. I think starting next week, we're gonna focus on the TikTok side because I know it's important to kind of get a song on there and, get people to use the sound and everything. So yes, there's lots of things that people don't realize, like the amount of work that goes in the background of a song and of everything. It's just I don't think people realize how stressful and
Yeah. You're
daunting it
probably
all
right.
is.
You're right. You're right. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are. It is stressful, and it doesn't
Unless
matter.
you have a team of like 40 people, then it's probably a bit better. But I think at this stage, when you can only trust, and I only trust
Yeah,
a couple of people, um,
absolutely.
it's just very hard to just keep up with everything without going crazy and wanting to meditate at like 4 a.m. Just being like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to calm down. Yes.
I
My
still,
manager always tells me, he's like, "Andrada, chill out. I've got this." And I'm like, "But I need to stress out." And he's like, "No, please stop." And then Jeff's the same. He always says to me, he's like, "Why are you awake? I messaged you hoping you wouldn't be awake. So why are you awake?" And I'm like, "Oh God, ugh, I shouldn't have responded." So yeah.
I'd be like, if you didn't want me to be awake, why are you messaging me?
I think they're testing me. I really think they're testing me at this point. I'm gonna pretend I'm asleep from now on, because they would just text me at about 4 a.m. and be like, "Hey, you awake?" And now I'm just kind of like, is this a test? Am I supposed to not respond? So yeah, guys, if you're watching this, I'm not responding to your text anymore.
I love it. How big is the team that does work for you? It's just you and a couple of other people, or
So I've got my producer who we just I mean I do work with other people as well in terms of producing, but
Mhm.
when sometimes when you just have a really good relationship and a really good bond with someone who gets you as an artist and gets your music and gets what you're going for, and also someone who's watched your like evolution throughout the years and knows exactly where you should be going. That's why I kind of we've just always ended up working together.
Somebody you can
So in
trust.
terms of producers, I just always trusted him. And in terms of like outside team, there's definitely not more than 5 or 6 people, like maybe not like people that I actually trust. There's 2, plus my producer. Apart from that, I'm just kind of like,
Gotcha.
getting what I can out of it and, building relationships, but I wouldn't put my life in the hands of
Right.
those,
Exactly.
those
Not
other
just
people. So,
anybody.
yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's always good to keep it contained and keep a small circle because
Totally.
sometimes less is more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, that less is more is such a true statement. Think about it.
You know what's confusing me? Like, throughout my time at university, I heard less is more so much. Like, people would always say, less is more, less is more. Like, the more you do and the more you try to do things, the more it's kind of like just too much. But then in the past 6 months or so, I've heard more is more, more is more. And I'm like, you can't do that to me. I was like, you can't do that to me. You can't go from less is more to more is more. It's like they're complete opposites. Like I need to know which one's like, which one do I, abide by. So yeah, I'm just kind of confused right now. But I do think in certain situations, I do think more is more in terms of when it comes to work. The more work you do, the more results you're probably
I
going
understand
to
that, I guess.
get.
Yeah.
But with less is more, I do understand that sometimes when you go a bit more minimal and a bit more kind of natural and all that kind of stuff, it's usually a better approach than just trying to go big and bold and always looking like a crazy superstar when you're probably not there yet. Yeah.
Are you doing any acting at this point in time, or are you just singing, writing?
I'm doing all of them. No, I just don't like talking about myself. It's like, oh, I do everything.
No, it's all good.
No, I did. So I did a couple of. So I did a movie, a few months ago. How many months ago?
Come out in the
Yeah.
fall, right?
Sorry.
It's going to come out in the fall, correct?
I mean, I hope so. At this point, I don't know anything right now. So if you ask me when it's actually coming out, I can't tell you because it just keeps changing. So at some point it will come out. Then I did another short movie that did come out because it was a short movie, so there wasn't like a massive premiere or anything. And I did that one. And then I'm still doing like some auditions, so like some self-tapes and stuff like that for different, musicals or movies and things like that. So it's slow, to be honest. Like there's not that much going on. Like normally people have lots of auditions these days. I mean, they would in a normal year, but it's not normal right now. So
Gotcha.
so yeah, I'm just going for whatever I can. And if I'm being put up for a musical or for a movie or for an ad or anything, I always go for it. But if there's nothing going on, then I'm not just gonna, run around trying to find things. It's hard for everyone, so I'm just kind of trying to take it one step at a time. But to answer your question in a sentence, then I will say yes, I'm still doing that as well.
I gotcha. Do you ever feel overwhelmed with everything that you have going?
I want to just like go and laugh right now and just like have some wine. Yes.
I mean, it's okay. I'd get one too. We could have a glass of
Oh
wine.
my God. Yes, I get overwhelmed. I think I overwhelm myself. I think I am an organized person. Like I'm not chaotic. I am very organized, but I do think when I organize things, I still overwhelm myself. Like my to-do list for like a normal day would be like all these things. And then you look at the list and it's like, I haven't done anything. So then someone told me, a good and a smart approach is to actually only write down 3 or 4 things, because when you get those done, you actually ticked off your list. If you have like 15 things that you have to do and you've only completed 5, then you're going to feel like a failure because you haven't done the other ones.
Good point.
So yeah, I'm still, like I said, people do tell me to go to bed and to not stay up and to not send emails at 4 o'clock in the morning and all those things. But when my brain, when my brain gets in gear, I just can't stop it. So I think 100% I overwhelm myself and I overwork sometimes, and then I burn out, and then you have to kind
I was
of.
gonna I was gonna ask, how do you handle it when you get to that? And you say you kind of burn out. What do you do? How do you handle it when you feel overwhelmed and then you get to the point of burnout? How do you handle it as a performer, as an actress? How do you handle it?
So sometimes I cry, just like, the
Okay.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I would cry, but not as in a, defeated mode. It's just like I only really ever cry when I'm tired. So I know it sounds a bit silly and like, "Oh, what
Not
a
at all.
baby," but no, sometimes if I'm really tired or overwhelmed, and especially if it's situations that I can handle and situations that I can change and deal with, um, I I just deal with it. That's what I do. If something can be dealt with, then I'll deal with it. I won't cry, I won't sit on my ass and, just whine. But if it's something that I have no power over, I just get so frustrated. I think that's the main thing that happens. Like I frustrate cry and it's like it's not like a sad cry. It's just like a tired, frustrated cry. Um, but I usually just try to I do meditate a lot. I think that's what happens. I keep like a diary, like a gratitude diary. So I like even when you have a really bad day, it forces you to find things that you're grateful for. It helps you kind of see the good even when you can't think of anything good. So keeping that gratitude journal, I think in this industry, especially because you always want more, you want the New Music Friday and you want the Grammy and you want this and you want that. And sometimes you just forget about all the things that you have achieved. So I think keeping this journal kind of reminds you of all the good that has happened.
Mhm.
Um, and yes, meditation helps. Wine always helps. Yeah, just a good cry, just a good bath. I love candles as well. I love just being kind of, in the dark with the candles, just listening to some really nice music. I listen to very, very chilled music. I don't listen to my own music. I just listen to
Really?
like really, really I very rarely listen to my music.
And why
If
is
I'm with
that,
people,
Andrada? Why is that?
I just think it's a bit strange.
Yeah. Do you
I don't
think
know. I just
maybe too critical on yourself when you hear it and say, "Ah, I should have done this different," or is it just you just want something different and you already know what you've got?
mm, I just think it's like a maybe it's like a society thing where if you listen to your own music, people will just be like, "Oh, you're such a narcissist, like, you're just
Oh,
stop
geez.
listening to yourself." Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes if I'm with friends and they wanna play it, fine, but
Yeah, I
most days I'm just kind of like, "Oh, ugh," I don't know, maybe, I guess I mean, I am my worst critic. Let's just put that out there. I am my worst critic. Um, but I just think sometimes you just the thing is this, when you listen to your music, is
mhm.
like being at home thinking about work.
Ugh,
It's like me listening to my own music is like me constantly critiquing my own music, which you don't really want to do if you just want to relax. But if I listen to a playlist, just like a random playlist on Spotify, like something really chilled,
mhm,
then
mhm.
I don't sit and judge. I just sit and enjoy. But I don't think I could ever um don't think I could ever just like sit down and listen to my song and
Right,
not realize it's me.
right,
So
right. I got you. I got you. What do you do with all those awards that you've won over the years? You've picked up, are they like on a shelf in a back room or
they're actually in my other ow, my foot got stuck.
oh no.
Uh, yeah, they're in my parents' house, so where like my family home.
Gotcha.
They are in my room. If I was in that house, I would have shown you. Yeah, I kept them all. I was obsessed whenever I got an award. If I didn't get like the actual trophy that comes with it, I would be so upset. I was so upset. There was one time when they were like, "We're really sorry," because I think I got like first prize or something, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to get my trophy." And then they were like, "Oh, we're really sorry. You're only gonna get the diploma this time because we ran out of, we couldn't make the trophies." And I was just sat there like, "That's all I care about," because that's the thing
Paper?
that yeah, it's just like a piece of paper. No, but I just think it's just always that thing of it's
Yeah.
something that you can just look at and you can put in your room and everything. Um, yes, I did. I still have all of them, and I'm still waiting on my Billboard
Awesome.
plaque that hasn't
I
come
know.
in.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
so
it hasn't come in yet?
No, honestly,
Oh my gosh.
it was supposed to be sent in October, and then they were like, "Oh, sorry, it's still, still on the way." Like they had some delays and stuff, and now we're in February, and
Mhm.
I'm still waiting for my plaque because, I want to have something to put on the wall. I'm gonna take this thing
Absolutely.
down, and I'm just gonna put me.
You should. You have every right to do that, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. So
Yes,
that's
yes,
cool.
I know.
What about all those streams? When you look at your social, the media, the Spotify and all that, you've got like over 1 million streams.
Do I
That's
have a
amazing.
million? I think I do. Yeah. I mean,
No, I
yeah,
know.
I think like across the platforms. Yeah, yeah, I do. Um,
Easy. Wow.
I just, like I said, I just always think about how I want to improve and how I
Mhm.
want to get better. And I think if you get stuck in the whole mentality of, look at all of my million streams, look at all of my views, look at all of these things. Sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said right.
Yeah. I just think you don't get to improve if you become self-absorbed and self-obsessed and all that kind of stuff. There's no space for improvement. So not saying you should, put yourself down in any way. You should always be proud of what you've done and be grateful for everything that you're achieving. Um, but I just think you just need to look at it and think, okay, this is amazing. This is great. I'm so thankful for this.
Mhm.
How can I get more? How can I improve? What does this mean?
Mhm.
I always see it as, if a song does well or if people react well to it, I see it as, okay, it means that I'm on the right path. It's not like, okay,
Right.
because I know with some artists, um I mean, I'm sure you know this, obviously it's common knowledge, but some people just release songs and then they have a billion streams,
Mhm.
and then 10 years later or 10 months later or a year later, you're like, where is that person? Because for people who are only doing it for the streams, that's what happens. If it doesn't come from a place of, I can't live without this, and no matter how many streams I get, I'm still gonna do it, then what's really the point? You know that whole joke with somebody that I used to know?
Yeah.
Like the song, and then everyone's like, "Well, he's somebody that we used to know," because, I mean, obviously, I don't know what happened, and I don't know the whole story, and,
Yeah.
um but like I said, I just think for me, streams don't define me as a person, and they don't define me as, "Oh, I made it." I just know, and this is like a blessing and a curse, but I know that I'm always gonna want more. No
And
matter I'm gonna be sat next to my Grammy one day, I'm gonna
yeah,
sleep with it next to my head, and I'll be like,
every right.
"Okay, this is good, but I still want something else. I want an Oscar now. Goodbye."
Yeah, and just keep going for it. Just keep reaching for it. Just keep pushing yourself. And then when you need to take a step back, take a step back. Then when give it a little time, take 3 steps
That's
forward.
something that I still need to learn. The whole stepping back is what I
Yeah.
need to learn.
Well,
It's
sometimes
really hard.
yeah, sometimes I mean, even doing what I do, sometimes do the interviews. Sometimes we get so involved in doing this type of work that sometimes you just need to take a step back and kind of reevaluate everything and figure out
I
how.
just think it's also, I mean, I always talk about this, and I always talk about social media, and I'm very open about how I feel about social media.
Mhm,
I just think everything happens 100 miles an hour
mhm,
because that's how it looks on social media. It's like, if you just wanna have a down day and you just want to, have some tea and watch a movie, and then you scroll down Instagram or you scroll up your phone or something, and you see all these things and all these people doing things, and then you start feeling
mhm.
like, "Oh god, why am I not doing things? Why am I not traveling? Why am I not writing songs? Why am I not performing? Why am I not creating?" And all these things. Um, so I blame social media for us being 100 miles an hour, because sometimes you just need to relax. Sometimes you just need to, like, there's some days when I just turn my phone off. I mean, not completely,
But I get you. Nope.
but I
Right.
just decide, okay, notifications off or anything, because it does get. Am I back?
Yeah, you're there. You're okay.
Okay, social media was like, "We don't want you talking about this." Um,
Yeah,
no, I'm joking. I just think,
how are
we
you?
live in a generation where, I mean, I know I'm in this generation where everything has to be on the socials, and in this industry, if you're not on socials, you don't exist. I don't know how people made it back in the day, because right now If you're not on TikTok, then what are you even doing? If you're not on Instagram, how do you even call yourself an artist and all that kind of stuff? So for me, there's days when I really get like really bad anxiety and I don't want to look
Right.
at my phone. I don't want to post on Instagram and I don't want to post a really glamorous photo of me whilst maybe I'm having a really, really bad day, but you have to.
Mhm.
So I do think that it's really hard to take a step back when it feels like everyone's taking a step forward.
Mhm. Mhm. Well,
That's kind of what I struggle with.
yeah, this might make you smile a little bit. I don't know if you can see the messages, but the Zachary on there is my son who is Down
Oh,
syndrome, and he wants to know if you will marry him. So but
oh my God.
Zach is,
See, it's stuff
Down
like this that just gets me really emotional. Like I got really
syndrome.
hot right now. Can you
Yeah,
tell?
we do a podcast called Zach Attack with Dad, and if you get a chance to check it out, it's just amazing.
Of
Uh,
course I will.
and Zach just put on there, Andrade Papa, will you marry me? So he's upstairs. Of course, we'll have a little talk afterwards because he's not supposed to be posting while Dad is on the podcast. So,
Someone's getting in trouble. Someone's getting in trouble today. Oh
well,
my God, that is lovely though. That is
uh,
lovely.
and no, he's our gift, obviously. So, and yep,
Don't get
somebody
in trouble, Zach.
attack. Oh, that's all right. But he's pretty excited. He's big into performers. He loves. I'm sure he will look up your music now and all that stuff. He just loves this, and he loves anybody that's a performer, that's an actor, actress, anything like that. It's just he wants to go to L.A. He wants
Oh,
that. So,
me too.
and you'll be there. I know you will, Andrada. I mean, you've got the talent, you've got the voice, you've got it all going, and
Thank
you
you.
have a lot of confidence in yourself, and that's pretty cool. If somebody wanted to go online and look up your music and see your videos, where can they go to do that?
So they can go to YouTube. They can either type my whole name or they can just type Andrada because they'll find stuff.
Mhm.
So they can find my YouTube channel, which is Andrada. And on every other social media platform this is Andrada. So if you go on Instagram, I don't really use Twitter. It's not really a thing outside
Okay.
America. I don't really think so.
Yep.
But yes, on Facebook and Instagram and all these things, you'll just find me as this is Andrada. And then on Spotify, you'll find me as Andrada. Um, and yes, I mean, if you want to stream "Sign from God" and stuff like that, just look it up. That one's not on my YouTube channel. That one is on March and June, but you can still type in Andrada "Sign from God" and you'll find it. So
What is March and June? I saw that on there. What and it asked me to.
so everyone asks me this. So basically, like I said, my producer releases things like how I can't think of an example, but some people release songs under a name that's not actually their name.
Right.
So yes, that's the name that he's chosen, and he doesn't because he just doesn't really care about being a public person. Like he's the man behind the screen, he's the man behind the music, and he doesn't want to make it all about himself, and that's why he wants me to be the face of things. So yes, he produces, he's the brain behind it, but he just uses a different name and he releases it under that. So yeah.
And if you're just joining us here tonight on Skip Happens, Andrada Popa, she is not where we are. She is halfway around the world in Romania, and it's probably almost 4 o'clock in the morning there now. So,
I'm having a lot of fun. Can we just keep doing this? Like,
I've got all night. I mean, your night's half over. We're
I
just.
don't even care. I love doing this. Like, honestly, I can talk for hours.
And I can tell you love doing this because you got the mic to do it. You've got the headphones to do it. You sound great. You've got the whole package, man. It's going to school in London. I mean, one of the best schools for musical and theater. Just doing everything that you're doing, and you're putting music out there, and it's just wow. It's so deep and so good, so good. So good.
Well, all you can do is just try your best and just go with your intuition. That's kind of what I've discovered in the last year or so. It's like no matter what people tell you, you know yourself best, and you can only trust yourself and you're obviously I'm not saying don't listen to anyone's opinions. I'm just saying if you really want to do something and it feels like it's the right thing to do and it's the right song for you and it's the right project for you, then you shouldn't just let other people decide for you. No matter how many managers and friends and boyfriends and family, whatever, like just go with your heart.
And speaking of that, do you have somebody special in your life?
Well. I was like, I feel like I haven't been asked
You
this
don't even
question
have
before.
to. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Yes, I do. But, yeah, it's just like, it's that kind of question that, like, you always think people are gonna ask, and then they don't. So, like, you're the first person to ask that. It's like, "Oh, that's interesting." So, yeah.
I don't know. Should I have asked it or not?
What?
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. I'm
Oh,
just.
no, it's
I'm
okay.
just.
No, go for it.
When I do the podcast, I like to dig into the lives of whoever I'm talking to, find out a little more about them. I mean, it's great. Found out you don't have a driver's license, and you do have somebody in your life, as well as you're handling a whole career, a couple of different things. You're kind of balancing it all out.
I mean, I try to do as much as I can, and I just try to not drive myself insane, you know? I should start driving a car instead of driving myself insane. That's what I think I should
You
do.
might have
So,
to there, but like you say, if you go to New York or in London, you probably don't need a car. You got the tube or the
I just imagine, like, I just, like, picture myself, maybe 15 years in the future and, like, just not being able to drive, and that kinda scares me. Because I think right now I don't really care. I know I wouldn't really drive. It would
it'll
just
be
be
fine.
that thing of, I just wanna have a driver's license. But then you look at yourself as, a 40-year-old person or, like, a 30-year-old person and, like, not having a license, and it's just kind of like, "Maybe I should." So, that's kinda where I'm at with everything.
What's the popular car in Romania?
Ooh, um, what's the name? I'm
Is
not
it like
really sure
little
if I
tiny
pronounced it
cars?
right.
Do you guys I mean, here in the States, we have, we got our pickup trucks and we got our Suburbans and we got yeah,
Yeah, I know the brand, like, I know the name, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna pronounce this right. It's Dacia, like, I don't know, I wouldn't know how you call it, but it's, like, spelled, like, Dacia, and basically all of, like, the taxis and the police
okay.
cars and stuff like that, they're just
Mhm.
yeah, that's the brand. People do like a Rover, to be honest,
Oh, yeah.
and like a BMW.
Nice.
So yeah, I think BMWs and Range Rovers and Land Rovers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And
people either Hmm?
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say some people really like going for, like, really small cars, but some people are just like, "Nah, bringing the guns out, get the Rover." So yeah, I think it just really depends who you are as a person and kind of what matters to you. I don't really know what I would get, probably
I'm gonna
I
tell you,
actually don't know. That's a good question.
the Land Rover or a Rover is a nice vehicle. That we have those here as well. They are very nice. They're not cheap, but they're beautiful vehicles. So,
My brother has one, and it does
yeah.
look really nice, so I kinda feel like maybe he'll let me let's be honest, he's never gonna let me take you for a drive. Let's be honest, he's gonna be like, "Andrada, I love you, but no, you're not doing
Don't
that.
touch it.
Sorry."
Don't touch the car. No, no.
Mm-mm.
And, what's the weather like there right now?
It's grim. It's
It's grim.
snowing/raining/ slash
Yeah,
slash
yeah.
I don't wanna get out of bed at any point.
Same thing here.
No, I think with Romania, it's like in summer, it gets really, really, really hot, so it's like 40 degrees. I mean, that's like Celsius, not
Celsius, right.
yeah, not your one.
That's hot.
And then in winter, it just gets really disgusting and just kind of it snows, but then the next day it's sunny, and then it gets all, like, nasty, and then it, like, rains and stuff, and it's really, really cold right now. I went to the shop the other day. It was, like, 4 minutes away, and I just, like, froze to death. I came back in the house, I was like, "I need a shower. I need a hot shower."
I love it. Andrada, you're awesome, girl. You are fabulous, and, I really appreciate you taking the time to, come
Oh,
on
don't worry about it.
about
I
you.
I like hearing myself in this mic. I have to admit this right now. This is
It
just, like
sounds good.
it sounds good. I mean, you sound great, but obviously I haven't, like, used this for this before, so
Yep.
I'm like, "This is
And
good."
can I ask you, what do you got it plugged into?
It's a Focusrite.
Yep, okay, alright.
Tell me you have the same one.
I
Tell
do.
me.
No, no,
You
not
do? Oh,
I actually, for the podcast, I do have a Focusrite, but I also have a voiceover studio that I use that in. All right. And that's on the
okay.
other side. I have this room is actually in my home. I have what I call the pod zone where I am now, and we can put 4 people here to do a podcast. However, we can't have people in right now because of the pandemic. But I also
Oh,
have a whole other side of the room that's I do commercials, voiceover work. I could do my radio show from there if I had to. When I do the podcast, I use a Rodecaster Pro, which is
okay.
pretty
I
cool.
just got this one because someone recommended it,
Yeah.
and it does
No,
the job, and
thank
it's small, and I can travel with it. I travel with my mic everywhere,
absolutely.
so I can just pack it up. I mean, this usually weighs the most. Like when I have to take this with me, it's like,
Yep.
okay, the mic and a couple of tops, because then you're going, over the weight count. So yeah, I just take my mic with me. I take the Focusrite and stuff, and
And
I'm
you're
good
good
to
to
go.
go. Exactly.
When people say pack only the essentials, I think for me it's like, okay, got my mic, got my mask, got my headphones, done.
Good to go. Good to
I'm
go.
good to go. Yeah.
You're good to go. And Andrada, Papa, I just thank you so much for doing this here tonight. I'm
Thank you
really
for having me. This was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
have this opportunity to talk about you and your music and your acting and just the years. You, girl, you've got so much potential, and you're already living it. And it's just gonna keep growing. And someday I'm gonna be able to
Oh, thank you.
remember.
If I ever get a Grammy, I'll be like, Skip, do you remember when you interviewed me?
Yes.
And
Well,
I was just as stressed as I am here today.
you know what? I said you requested me for as a friend on Facebook, so I'm going to acknowledge that when we get off. So when you get that Grammy, yes, we'll be talking again. But
You'll be
hopefully
like,
before
see,
then.
I interviewed you when you weren't there yet.
That's right.
That's
Well,
funny.
you're almost there, girl. You are, Andrada. You are just top notch. So
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot.
yeah.
Don't
Well,
make me cry. Come on, don't make me cry at 4 a.m.
hey, you got to get to bed. It's probably close to 4 o'clock there. So
You're gonna laugh, but I actually have to finish a song, so I'm not going to bed.
what?
Yes, I have a deadline. I'm doing a song for an ad. Yeah, that's another side of my life. But yeah, I'm doing a song for an ad, and they gave me like a really tight deadline, and the deadline is tomorrow. And I'll be up for another probably about an hour or so, just kind of rendering the
You'll
files
be
and sending
watching
them
the
off.
sunrise.
Oh yes, 100%. That's just the life I lead,
Then
and I'm
shut
not
up
ashamed.
about that afterwards. Pull the shades and go to sleep. All right.
Exactly.
Andrada pop up because of that, especially because of that. I got to let you go. And God
Oh,
bless you. Stay safe. Do what you got to do to protect yourself from everything else that's going on in the world. You keep putting out great music. Uh,
thank you so much. I'll make sure to let you know of the next one, and then we can have another chat.
yes, absolutely. And I hope you enjoyed this. And it's great to touch base and just, just
Thank you so much. Thank you so
so
much, and thank you to everyone who tuned in.
how do you say skip happens in Romania?
Oh, skip happens? It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Like, you can't really translate that. It sounds really stupid. Skip happens. Oh, I can say it, but it just doesn't make sense. You wouldn't say that.
I want to say
Yeah.
I want you to say it though.
You would say like skip happens, so you would say it happens skip, like it would
Oh,
just
is
work the
it?
other way around. So
Oh,
it would be like skip sentempla. So that's how you would say it.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Well,
it.
that's a bit of Romanian for you. I'll
I
teach you
love
some more.
it. Okay. Next time we chat, we'll do that.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great rest of your evening, and stop drinking coffee. It's 8 o'clock.
Girl.
Get
Actually, I
that wine.
already
Drink the wine, not the coffee.
white or red.
Ah, rosé. No,
Yeah, well,
red. Just whatever you have, just whatever you got on hand. It doesn't matter.
I was asking, do you drink white or red?
Oh, it just doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Wine, fine.
Whatever. Wine is wine.
All right. I love it. Andrada, you're awesome. We're gonna go. Peace out. Take care.
Thank you so much.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye now.